Welcome back to the Krown crypto channel, wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice June 1st, baby. It's the start of the summer officially, I think. Anyways, more importantly, we're going to be looking at some June seasonality here and some actually major new things going on the charts, as well as, of course, another long-term confirming signal suggesting that the long-term low is very unlikely to be violated. But in the short term, what essentially does that mean? Anyways, other than that, I want to once again put the highlight on the sale that we have going on right now over here on the Krown trading application. And of course, 20% off of all the programs and products. As always, don't rush into any one of these things. I would humbly request that you do that you do watch the promotional videos as they explain who they're for, who they're not for, so you can make a proper decision for yourself. I should, however, let you know that all indicators that we offer on the store right now, of which there are three, or there's four, but three of the ones that are not currently on a monthly subscription basis will actually be going on a monthly subscription basis after this sale. So this is essentially the last one that you can actually, buy them for, a lifetime. After that, it'll go on to, like I said, a monthly sub, as well as the quant program. But the quant program won't change for another 4 weeks from now. So just so you have an advance notice, that is on the schedule as well. But there will be some major new things coming with that, as well as probably some pretty big things coming in on Friday for the current quant owners, of which keep an eye out for your email, as we will be in close communication once it's ready. All right, sweet. Let's just jump right into it. Let's start off right in over here with an analysis of the June seasonality here. So what I've done in this chart is I've marked off all of the prior Junes in Bitcoin's history. What I've gone through now is I've gone through where did it open, where did it close? Was that essentially, a green month or a red month, or in my case, cyan or purple month? And then obviously what was the average return for the winning side and the losing side as well. So I've got all that data right in over here. I would pose a question to the community right now though. What do you think? What do you actually think for June? Do you think it's 50-50 like it was for May, or do you think it's actually favoring one side? I'll give you 1 second and then I'll give you the fucking answer. The answer is 8 out of 13 Junes were actually positive gaining months, meaning that 5 were losing months, and actually the 3 most recent right here were actually all losing, which is rather interesting, as that's the longest losing streak that we've ever seen for June. Anyways, going into the data, as you can see, 13 prior closures, 8 of those were wins, not wins, but they closed up at least some portion. And of course, in some cases, these were very, 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 very small moves, both to the downside and the upside. On the upside, we're talking about like single-digit percentage moves. Anyways, in this case, we can also reference the average return for the winning side, meaning that for the bullish side, meaning that it opened lower than it closed, and that was about 26.75%. The losing side, however, was just over 17%. So I thought that was rather interesting. There was one major gainer here that we did see of about almost 84.25%, and on the losing side, the biggest losing month that we've seen was actually the last June. That was, in fact, I believe, the full collapse of FTX, 37.25% down. And I would argue that we probably aren't going to be witnessing something super similar to that. One, because we had 3 losing months in a row, which, would be a bit of an outlier there, I would say. And then 2, that particular month was an outlier on the downside. So yeah, and again, as we'll look at later, there's some extremely compelling evidence, amongst many other things that we've covered on this channel as well, that does suggest that, hey, new lows below the current low are extremely unlikely. Anyways, yes, so we've gone through that. I thought that was just rather interesting. Again, 8 out of 13 were, did close to the upside, and average returns, well, I'll let you be that, I'll let you decide for yourself, but I would say that they were rather moderate. All right, sweet. So we've gone through that. Let me get into the next thing now. I want to go and reference the monthly accumulation distribution indicator. As always, like checking on this, on this indicator when it's a new month, and another tick goes down and it continues with this upside slope. But why is that important? Well, if you're new here, you probably don't know this just yet, but this is one of my favorite indicators for long term, as anytime that we have seen the slope change in the extreme red or green zone that has correlated with a macro shift in direction, actually. So in this case, we're going to be referencing all of the ones that went from the downside to the upside, obviously, because we were, just coming off of a major low. What are all these fucking emails I keep on getting? Jesus, man. So many. Like, I'm banning my fucking email inbox. Can't be emailed no more. Anyways, yes. So in this case, anytime that we have seen the slope change from downside slope to upside slope in the extreme red zone, that has correlated with, essentially the lows already being in. So in some cases by, a few months, in some cases by just 1 month. And in the sideways and upside period getting ready to begin. Now, of course, that already happened well and far ago, back on over here in March. Well, I guess February would be the technical, area, because it kind of starts 1 month before that. But more importantly, that does imply that we have entered into the, into the sideways and upside, trajectory here. And also something that I haven't really spoken about before, but does matter here, is that, once that slope change has happened, Bitcoin has not closed below the candle, the period that happened on. So that would be the low side of March, meaning that Bitcoin, unlikely to come back down. Where exactly was this? Just below $20,000. So I do think that worst case scenario from here is that we see him move down to low 20,000s, but I'm not necessarily saying that that's going to even happen at all. Still want to see a few other things before that becomes like a legitimate reality. But yes, that in alignment with the new tick, also remaining with its upside curvature. In fact, it looks like it's even increased. It's even increased its positive curvature here by a slight amount, but not trivial there. And yes, I would be saying still the same thing. Bitcoin in this sideways transitionary period where we're looking for general sideways and up on the higher term timeframes, that being the monthly here. And as you also notice, once Bitcoin kind of enters this period, it typically likes to ride that light blue moving average, that cyan moving average, which is a 9 exponential, which is currently coming in just under $26,000. So I do still think that we could have some short-term downside. Based off of yesterday's analysis, I do think that Bitcoin basically tests around the the current range lows on the higher term timeframes, which would be that low $26,000 number. And I've gotten down to 26,600 thus far, but could it have another leg lower? Yes, definitely. And then I suppose I'd be at least looking for a bit of a bounce attempt there. Anyways, yes, so we've gone through that. Let's now move into the monthly stochastic oscillator. Again, this is something that did fire off, officially with the cross, as you can see down here, to the upside in the extreme zone. That actually happened back on in January, February, basically. Also putting in some hidden bullish evidence right here as well. And of course, these have essentially marked off, as these green vertical bars will show, that the low was already in and sideways and up was ready to begin. But the new piece of information here is that Bitcoin has now officially, or not Bitcoin, but the monthly stochastic oscillator has officially crossed above this moving average, this EMA that I have right here, which represents that second consecutive vertical green bar. And as you can see on the charts as well, that did initiate kind of like a mid-cycle correction, typically going into the sideways price action right here. That was August 2012. Going into the sideways price action right here in November 2015. Going into the sideways price action right here in July of 2019. And do we see some over here as well? Well, we've already seen a down month. I'd essentially be looking for Bitcoin to kind of grind its way out sideways and likely up from here. Maybe into like the the end of the year, but I still would be looking at summerish months as likely sideways. And personally speaking, I'm starting to look at this as unlikely to do anything like significantly interesting in the more near term. Sideways and boring is essentially good for the boo laws. Anyways, yes, we've gone through that. The monthly stochastic oscillator remains with its upside posturing as long as Bitcoin remains closing above 17,750. So looking good for now, I guess, looking quite likely for now. And then also we can go ahead and reference the monthly Joule and RSI over here. Monthly RSI, still that hidden bullish evidence, I would say, is active as long as we are, or not we, I fucking hate that term. Oh man, I did it. Oh, Heinz, you done rubbed off on me, and now we're rubbing together and it doesn't feel too fucking good, man. We. No, Bitcoin, not we. I'm a me and you are a you. And let's just end it right there. But that hidden bullish evidence, yeah, still active as long as it's above that moving average. And then also the monthly jewel, it remains with its upside curvature here. DMI still in support, just a continuation of prior things. But I did want to speak about something that's completely new here that I have not referenced ever before, and because we didn't have access to this indicator before, of which Caretaker is, I think, putting on the finishing touches as of right now. It's pretty fucking good one as far as volatility goes. It's actually a little more accurate than the BBWP. And more importantly with this, what I've noticed is that when we're looking at the HPDRV2, we're just going to call it the HPDRV, or the yeah, the V. Yes, it's the V. That's right. That's what we'll call it. You'll notice here that the extremes on the monthly time frame were had basically in alignment every time with the macro low. Actually, you can see this over here where my cursor currently is at right now. That would be your 2011 lows. You can see it over here on the extremes for the 2015 lows. You can see it over here yet again in 2019 for the January lows. And then what do you know? We saw this fire off exactly on November 2022, which is the current lows. So again, I would be saying that this is just another new piece of information here that does suggest that Bitcoin very unlikely to trade below the current macro low. Doesn't mean it can't come down, doesn't mean it can't come down, but I wouldn't be looking for that area to be violated. And as we looked at earlier, I do think low $20,000 would be like a worst case scenario if we see some major downside from the current area. But for right now, it does look like we're entering, or it's not like we're looking at that, or it's not like we are entering into that cooling off period. We are in that cooling off period, where volatility really starts to tick down here. You can see that moving average, sloping down rather aggressively. And that typically, not typically, but has always led into a sideways and then upside market on the macro scale, on the monthly scale here. So again, just another thing suggesting sideways and up. I'm not saying that June's going to be super interesting, but sideways again favors the boo laws for probably, a real move to the upside around the end of the year, like last quarter of this year is what I'd say. But yeah, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. I forgot to shield Bybit, but whatever, you already know. There's a link in the description below. You can get the Jewelite for free as well for the first 30 days. And you can also check out their Apex exchange, which is a decentralized exchange, which maybe some people might find interesting or useful for who knows what reasons, but I'll let you decide that for yourself if it is relevant for you. And with that said, I'd like to be signing off now. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.